right. We're going after it real quick.
I love that you say real quick.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that you always have, you stack the show so fat, and you're like, just hurry. I love that you always tell me to hurry.
No, that's not true at all.
2 seconds before we come on the camera, Mark looks at me and goes, we're going to make this really fast, okay?
No. I mean off the top. I didn't actually mean the whole show. But we do have a lot to talk about here, and we will get to a little bit of mail right off the top because it addresses some issues I think we need to talk about. Then we had some more polling data leaked to us. Mm-hmm. And so we are going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the mayor's race, which ends on Tuesday. We're going to find out a lot about what happens with the Albuquerque mayor's race. And for those of you not in Albuquerque, there are plenty of lessons to take from this nationally. And we're going to point exactly what those are out to you because it's interesting stuff. And we did get some decent data from some of our leakers. Apparently now we're the place to leak polls. This is where they go. When people want to leak their poll, they come to us.
I do. I like it.
And we do verify that they're real.
Yeah.
Things of that nature. Believe me, they're not. These things are not made up. But we'll get into details on that. Why I think that Darren White has a chance and why it's going to be an uphill struggle too at the same time. There's a bunch of this Venezuelan boat thing is bonkers. You watch some of the questions being asked of the administration and people like Tom Cotton. It's amazing to watch the ignorance in our media, but we are going to talk about that as well. We're going to talk a little bit about the economy and how, again, we continue to harp on it. It's got to be taken care of, and it's got to be something that the administration deals with. And then we're going to get into some fun stuff. Number one, perhaps the next great NFL quarterback has emerged, and his name is Fernando Mendoza. And I like him a lot. And you'll see why we like him a lot when we show you his soundbite after they beat Ohio State. And then Sunday game day is big. Sunday game day is big today. Okay, one of the best videos the best video we've ever had, I think.
Wow.
And then some fun as well.
I haven't seen the videos, so.
Yes.
So we'll see if I think they're the best.
We'll find out.
Okay.
So let's get to it.
Okay. Well, and I brought you a little buck.
Yes.
On the table.
It is good looking buck.
Christmas guy.
No, it's a nice look out here.
I wanted him to show up more, but he doesn't show up that much. So you can. It's just for Sunday game day.
No.
He's right here for you.
He's cut. He's got some bulk to him. He's solid. He looks healthy.
He's green velvet too.
Yeah, he is green velvet. He looks good. He looks like the buck we're going to show you in the game cam video.
Okay.
One of them.
Okay.
Yeah, no doubt. I like it.
Okay. Well, let's get to some of your mail. Thank you guys again for writing in. This is the first one. Been talking obviously about this mayor's race. It says this is from your nutter, I guess.
Yeah, again, why you keep reading the names, I have no idea why. You're like, Harry Balls just wrote in. It's like, what? I mean, honestly, what are you doing? Okay? Stop reading the names. Okay.
Should we cut this out?
No, we shouldn't. Go.
Oh
read this. Goodness gracious.
My apologies, everybody.
All right. Okay. All right, let's roll.
Okay. If Keller is reelected, Albuquerque deserves the downfall. You see, the economy is going down to the dumps. If you expect Keller to make improvements, the next 4 years aren't going to improve Albuquerque. So obviously that.
Okay. Yeah. People taking their shots.
Okay, Luann, I can say this name.
Luann, very good.
Fully. I feel okay about that.
Yeah.
She says, homeless or a drug addict who chooses to live on the street. Parents who care try to help their kids over and over until they realize it's no use.
Yeah, do as much as you can.
Right, which is what we were talking about from last show.
Absolutely.
And then Mary, I can also say her name just fine.
Yes, you sure can.
We would like to hear news from other areas of the state instead of just Albuquerque. So we haven't been watching as often now. Too much on Keller.
Okay, I want to talk briefly about this.
Yeah.
Mary, totally understand the point. And for those of you who aren't in Albuquerque, I get it. We've definitely focused a lot on this. The reason we're going to finish up focusing on it today is because what we want to figure out right now in this country as a whole, and this is not about Albuquerque, it is about our political environment. And does performance matter? Okay? And if performance doesn't matter, then you're going to see a re-election of a mayor who by every single account has struggled over 8 years. If you live in Albuquerque, you know there are places you used to be able to go that you can't go now. There are places that people sleep on the streets where they never did before. There is crime at a level that we have never seen before. So you start seeing all this and you wonder, does performance matter? And there is no job, I think, in politics that is more directly related to the people than the mayor of a city, because they do the stuff that matters to you. They pick up the trash. They make sure that people aren't suffering on the street. They make sure that crime isn't adequate. Like, they have the real job that's really connected to you. So what's going to be super interesting about this race is, does performance matter? Because I think everybody can agree on the performance. It has not been there. But does that mean that the mayor doesn't get reelected? Or does that mean you got a D by your name and you're getting reelected? It doesn't matter. And so what is the state of our politics in the country right now? Is it so polarized that performance means nothing? And if performance means nothing on both sides, that is horrible for the citizens of this country. Because if you're not doing the job as a Republican or a Democrat, you should be bounced if you're not getting it done. And so this will be very interesting. So that's why we're focusing so much on this.
Right. And also, just I think you should maybe allude to a little bit of the fact that the Albuquerque mayor's race shows quite a bit of, in general, where is the, what are we looking at when it comes to elections down the road in 26? Because Albuquerque is a major market for this state for anybody to win. And so if there's not a major shift, or if that's why it matters.
That's a great point. That's a great point. So we see right now, there just aren't many candidates for the big jobs in New Mexico right now, governor and U.S. Senate. We have a couple of candidates that are running on the Republican side, much more of a spirited battle on the Democratic side, especially for governor. And is that because Republicans can look at this and go, "Would you want me to stick my head in the wood chipper?" And we've talked about that. It's really hard, and it's hard to make that case.
Right.
So we will see. So that's why this race is so important. If Darren White wins, or if Darren White is within 3-4 points, something like that, that shows you with a 20-plus Democratic advantage in the city of Albuquerque for registration, that shows you that performance does matter, and people are starting to move. So I think a lot of people watch those sorts of things.
Right.
Okay.
And that's important. Okay, so go ahead. Let's talk a little bit about this poll that was leaked and kind of what we've garnered from it.
Right. So we did not get the top lines. We did not get the horse race number. That is not what I have. What I have is, what do people care about, and where does Trump fit into this? Okay. So here's the first one, and here's what we've got. Top issues for Albuquerque voters. This is pretty similar to what we saw with the Journal poll as well. So this is not that far off from the Journal poll. It is crime and safety is almost 40% of the people in the city. That's a huge number. You combine that with homelessness, and this for Darren White is why you are optimistic. If you're Darren White, you look at these numbers and you go, people care most and are most concerned about the issues in which I've been running on, in which my opponent has, by all objective measures, fallen down on, right? So you look at those numbers and you say, okay, that makes some sense. Then the next number comes in, which is, how do the crime and homelessness numbers combine, and what kind of total number does that make up for the electorate? Over 60%. I might even argue that number may be a little low on this poll. I don't know the poll, but I'm pretty sure that it's a little low, to be honest with you. Okay, but still, 61% is a lot of the electorate. Okay, and that number fits pretty tightly with the number of people who want a new mayor. Right, we saw that in the last election,
65%,
65%, right? Yep. So that kind of fits into that number. So this poll makes some sense to me, right? Then you go to the next number and you start talking about Trump's favorability. Okay, so this is pretty rough.
Yeah,
okay,
it's pretty bad.
This is just in the city of Albuquerque. It is not even Bernalillo County. It is just in the city of Albuquerque. Unfavorable, 67%. So this is what we've said. And then Ella, let's go to the highly unfavorable. Is that right? Is that what we have as the second number? Okay, or very unfavorable. Excuse me. 61% of the 67% are very unfavorable. Okay, those are the people who basically say, I can't stand this guy, whatever, okay? That's the issue here. So this is what we've said from the very beginning about this race. It is a battle of two different sides. One side is the day in, day out life you live in Albuquerque, where you deal with the homelessness and you deal with the high crime, and you know it's not right and you know you deserve better. And then you have most of the electorate in this city who say, I don't like Donald Trump. So the question is, will they look at their own personal experience and say, it's time for change? That trumps anything else. Or will they say, I understand things, I don't like where things are now, but I hate Donald Trump and I'm going to send him a message. So I'm going to basically
punish the city,
punish myself.
Yeah.
Because I want to send Donald Trump a message. Donald Trump doesn't care about your message that you're going to send in a mayoral race. It will not matter to him. He will do what he does. Okay. But that's the question. It is very simply a question of, do you want improvement, and do you look at this election as it really is, which is your mayoral election, or do you look at this as a way to hop on your team, your red or your blue team, and in this case, your blue team, to say, I'm team blue. no matter what the result is, and I don't care. And that's what we're going to find out.
I think what's interesting is, have they been able to connect the dots that the rise in homelessness and the rise in crime in our city are directly correlated back to the mayor? And I feel like I read a lot of comments on social media and media outlets that are posting things. I go down and read a lot of the comments just to try to get like a temperature gauge on where people are at. I think there's still really a lack in people who don't understand that leadership impacts policy, which is why we see a rise in crime and an uptick in homelessness. I think there's still that missing link, which blows my mind.
I know. And you say that a lot, and you make a really compelling case. I don't know how that really is the case.
Well,
if you really look at where we are, how in the world do you say, like, that's not the mayor's fault? Like, there's don't get me wrong. There's plenty of willful ignorance out there. But what we're talking about here is that voter who's not completely locked into being willfully ignorant. I mean, you have to really convince yourself that Tim Keller has no ability to affect these things. That takes willful ignorance. And I think those people are there. They're there on both sides all the time, But I don't think there's enough of those people to really justify this. I don't think there's willful ignorance as much as there is that this is my team and that's it. This is my sport.
Okay, but I would say that the willful, along with those comments, it's like, well, this is a national problem. This isn't just happening here. It's like this whole thing of like really.
Yeah, but it's far worse. Yeah, no,
it's far worse here.
No, I see what you're saying.
It's far worse here. But again, those people are not watching our show.
Yeah.
Right. So they're not, and they're only listening to the media, the main media.
Yeah.
And they have no idea how bad we actually are ranked right now. So I just think that to me is still that missing link that I hope that's why we always tell people about our show. We want people to still find out things because I think there's a real lack for that.
Sure.
And just an understanding of what's actually happening and what's transpiring. So,
okay,
so let's talk about what does Darren White need to
Yeah,
be
we want to
successful?
show you how, look, and this is not to give you a downer, but this is to tell you that if you know people that have not voted, you need to make phone calls to get people to vote because this is an uphill battle any way that you cut it. Darren has to get roughly around 20% of Democratic voters to vote for him to win. That's a big number in this day and age. It doesn't happen very often, okay? And that's why the mayor performance thing is so important, right? That's why we think there's a chance for this to happen because the performance of the mayor is so directly tied to the people. But that 20% slide, to give you an idea, Susana Martinez used to be able to do that. She used to be able to get, back when she won, she was able to get around 25% of Democrats to vote for her, especially soft Democrats. This day and age, no one's doing that. Nobody's doing
because
it.
They feel like if they slide against the party, then they're voting in favor of Trump.
Trump has changed everything about where we are on our sides and we are going forward here. Okay, and so we couldn't do that. I mean, we got more votes, democratically than a lot of other people could have. There's no question about that, but not enough, right? Again, we didn't make up the last 5.5% or whatever it was, right? So you've got to try to do that. But just so you know, Darren's got to do that. Because Democrats have about a 25-point advantage in the city of Albuquerque.
Which is really high advantage.
It's a high advantage, right? So that's just a fact. So you got to vote. This is not like, oh, everybody's mad. They're going to blow Keller out. No, not true.
No,
not true at all.
In fact, I would say that some of the information we're getting told is that the voter turnout is much lower than they anticipated. Now, usually a runoff election is pretty low turnout. I mean, unfortunately, you have one question, maybe two on the ballot. But I would tell you, it takes 1 second to go vote. So if there's any way, if you have any personal feelings about this, you live in this city, you know the issues we have. Not if you gotta have personal feelings about this, right? If you are 18 and older, go vote, and you can register to vote at the voting location as well.
And again, it's going to be Tuesday. You're going to vote on Tuesday.
Okay,
that's what you have to do.
Yep.
Okay, so all right, now I wanted to get into a couple other things. Number one, we're hearing on pretty good authority, Keller is nervous. Okay. Now, we don't have deep connections in the Keller world. No. Okay. Keller, although I'd like to thank him for mentioning the Humble podcast.
I know he did mention the podcast on the debate
on the Channel 13 debate. He did mention our podcast, which appreciate it, Mayor. I appreciate you watching. But at the same time, we're hearing from people close to him, and this is second or third hand. I don't want to pretend this was a call that came directly to me. It wasn't. But I've heard from pretty good authority, though, and the way this stuff works, we've got some pretty good sources. He's very nervous. Okay. And so you start to think now in a campaign like this, when you're down to the wire as a candidate and as a campaign, you get information in one of two ways. Okay. One of them is anecdotal. One of them is you go around, meet with voters, you get a feel for how they feel. Let me give you a quick example. When we were running for governor, we put out, we were going back and forth with Rebecca Dow, kind of exchanging fire, and she was saying not so nice things about me, and I was saying true things about her. So we were going back and I'm just kidding. So we were going back and forth. And then we put out 2 ads kind of toward the end of the campaign, not at the very end, not the real hard stuff, but we put out 2 ads that basically sunk her. Okay. And I could feel it in every room I went into. All of a sudden, where I would go into rooms and occasionally get the stink eye, and she would get the, oh, Rebecca's here kind of routine. All the old Rebecca's here went away. And all of a sudden it was like her having to answer for the ads that we put on the air. You could feel it in the room. Okay, that's anecdotal. It's not scientific data. It's just anecdotal. So the question that I start to wonder is, when I heard this about Keller, it was like, hey, he's really nervous. So my first thought was, is it anecdotal? Okay. Or is it the second way you get information, which is you poll it, you find out. Okay. You go run polls and you figure it out, and you figure out how to message everything. Polling is important. I know a lot of you guys are like, polls are always wrong and everything else. Look, there's definitely some bad polling out there, but polling can be incredibly valuable in telling you where the electorate is and how you need to craft your message. It is important. And all big political campaigns do it, and they do it a lot. So then we decided, all right, we've got to know, is Keller just anecdotal? And I don't think Keller is just an anecdotal guy, to be honest with you. I give him that credit. I think he probably has real data. So I said, okay. So we start looking up, what's he been spending his money on? And all this stuff is publicly available. So here's what we found out. A group associated with Mayor Keller has paid a Democratic polling firm about $84,000 since early November onward, meaning since the original election and then to now. So what does that tell us? I think that tells us likely the mayor's probably polled 2 or 3 times since the original election.
Okay.
I think Mayor Keller has real data. And I think he's concerned because he has real data. Okay. So now, does that mean he's going to lose? No, it doesn't. But what it means is, I think you've got a race here that if enough people turn out and enough people stand up, it could be very interesting on election day. So it's got that shot. So that's some of what we got. But that $84,000 is likely 3 polls. Okay. And a thing like Albuquerque and the number of people you need to poll, especially if you're going to get them live on the phone, you're going to spend 20,000+ at least each one. So probably 25 to 30,000 each one you do.
Right.
Right. So that's getting people on the phone. That's helpful. That's not internet. That's not Survey Monkey. We're not talking about any of this stuff. That stuff's a joke.
Right.
Like, this is big time stuff where you get real information.
Right.
So I think Keller has real reason for concern, and they're spending money up to the last second. Okay. So that tells you they don't feel comfortable. Give you an idea again. Back when we ran against Ben Ray, Chuck Schumer came in with about $300,000 in the last few days of the election to boost Ben Ray. They didn't do that because they just wanted to spend money. They saw the numbers and saw it was within 5 points. That was a concern to them. Okay. I think some of that's still happening in this race. So who knows where it goes.
Right.
Okay.
Right. All we do know is that you have to show up to vote. Like, that's it. I've been telling everybody I know to show up and vote, because I really believe that low voter turnout is just, it's so frustrating, because these guys do work hard to try to get their messages out, and they are trying to do it to make the city a better place. And all you have to do is show up and vote. Like, that's it.
You do. And the problem we've seen, though, to your point, is that across the nation, if we look at other races this year leading up to this one, every indication is this is a super heavy lift.
By far. Take a look at the New Jersey governor's race. Remember, we just had this back in November, and you'll see that,
it was a 14+ point gap.
Yeah.
I mean, remember, 4 years before this, Jack Ciattarelli got within a couple of points of the incumbent governor, right? That was when Biden was in his midterm,
right?
And this was Trump. So this shows you what happens when you got the White House. It is tough to run as the candidate with the party in the White House, and it's not just New Jersey.
Right. Take a look at the Virginia one that also happened again in November. Quite a spread here as well. 15+ points difference voting in Abigail Spanberger.
Yeah.
And it's just...
And by the way, the legislature in Virginia totally went left. I mean, big time left. It was basically evenly divided under Youngkin. Now it's 2/3, 1/3. It's bad.
It's bad.
It's bad.
So
okay, one more race too.
Okay, so let's take a look at the Tennessee one. This one just happened. This was
last week.
This was a race that happened last week. And again, I believe Trump won here in this particular area. This was a special election, right?
Yes, right.
The guy that was the Republican had decided to retire, so they were doing a special election to fill his seat. I think he won, or Trump. It was either Trump or him that had won by 22 points, if I recall.
Yeah, Trump did.
Okay, Trump did won by 22 points.
Yep.
Well, here is Matt Van Epps. He ran as a Republican against the Democrat.
Yeah, Afton Ben.
Yeah, and
He won by
much
8. He won by 8.
smaller
I mean,
gap.
that's an issue.
And that's in a heavy Republican area.
Yeah.
So it is kind of frightening when you look at those numbers.
We have to vote. We are now the party of the people who vote occasionally.
Right.
Republicans used to be the people that you could always depend on them to turn out to vote.
Right.
And now we are part of the party that's like, yeah, we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah.
And that's not good enough.
Or do people think we've either got this in the bag or maybe we don't? We think our vote's not going to matter. Like, that's always what I would love to know why people don't go vote. So if you have some insight on that, write it on a comment, and we'd love to read some of those, because I'm curious that you show up during a presidential election, but on these other ones or runoffs, I know it's tough and people's schedules are busy, but it literally, I went to vote and we had a small snafu. They actually gave me your ballot, by the way, but they apologized and we took care of that. So Mark was still able to vote.
I voted just fine on Saturday.
Mark was able to vote. I did not vote on your behalf, by the way, just so you know. But even with my snafu, I think it was in and out in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So it should take you about a minute.
Job.
Yeah. They run it pretty seamlessly. So I would just encourage anybody to get out there. Okay.
So that just wanted to lay that out for you where we are. That's the full picture of where this thing sits as we head into Tuesday. We will have a show either Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, somewhere in there, talking about what's going on. For those of you who've had enough of the mayor's race, I promise, just one more show when we go through the results. And I do want to say one other thing that we are going to do. I'm setting up a deal now. We are going to poll a group that we're affiliated with will poll after the race to figure out why people voted the way they did, because I think that's going to be very important to know. And I'm trying to arm twist our pollster into coming on with us.
Oh.
And I think she will.
You think so?
I think she will. And she's the best. And so she's fascinating, and I think it'll be good. It'll be a really good discussion.
Okay.
So we'll see if she'll come on. But I'll have the results either way, and we'll probably have them in a week or so, week and a half or so. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. Okay.
All right. So let's jump into the Venezuelan narcotics boat and the story that doesn't want to die. I mean, literally, it won't go anywhere.
So we're not going to get it. Everybody kind of knows the basic story here. We've got drug runners coming out of Venezuela, coming toward the United States, and the United States military is blowing up drug boats, okay? Because we don't need people poisoning this country and killing our people, okay? But what's amazing to me is the way the media is handling this. I have to play a few of these questions for you, which I find to be absolutely the ignorance that these guys operate with, and the fact that they are pushing their own narrative is ridiculous. And then we'll get into the Democratic response and how they're dealing with it. But I just want you to listen to this question from Jonathan Berman from CNN, which could be one of the most idiotic questions I've ever heard.
Would it be legal for police in Arkansas to kill suspected drug dealers on a boat in an overturned lake?
What? What? Hold on a minute. So, are you kidding me? Is this guy? Cotton actually, I would have kept it, but Cotton actually went back and answered a different question.
Okay, because he's like, that's a dumb question.
He was
so
like, like Tom Cotton is so good at this. He's like, I'm only going to acknowledge that because that's so stupid.
Yeah, it's a bad question.
I mean, you think about it. You're interdicting terrorism. Do you think you go to Afghanistan and you're like, well, wait a minute. Don't I have to read him his Miranda rights? No, you don't actually.
Yeah.
I mean, and so this is ludicrous to try to say, hey, how our domestic police force treats people versus how you treat people in international waters who are bringing in contraband and terror into your country. What are you, crazy?
Yeah, they don't even correlate.
It's crazy, right? So they take these things that do not correlate at all. Right. And they try to compare them and say, oh my gosh, what are you going to do? You're going to start killing people in Arkansas? Just start blowing them up on a lake in Arkansas? You're going to go to the Ozarks and start blowing boats up?
Well, I'm glad that Tom Cotton at least was measured enough to be like, I'm not going to talk about that one.
Okay. So Cotton, the next soundbite is Cotton as well.
Yeah. So let's take a little quick question. He gets asked a question by Kristen Welker. Let's see how he responds to this one.
States doesn't shoot people at the border who are bringing drugs into the country. Why should it be different at sea? Are you saying we should start shooting people at the border?
No,
Hold on, here we go.
We are going to a source where we have large-scale boats that are trafficking hundreds, if not thousands of pounds of drugs that could kill thousands of Americans, hundreds of Arkansans a year. It is a highly effective and efficient way to stop these drugs from reaching our shores.
You are talking.
Okay.
You're gonna start
What a
shooting people at the border.
ludicrous comment. Hey, everybody lines up at the, we find some drugs with you and immediately we're just going to put a bullet in your head. I mean, what is she?
It's a common fallacy, right? So this is what you do in debate. This is exactly what you do in debate. You try to ask these questions to stump the opponent. It's a major fallacy. Like, it's so arguable. It's frightening. It's like, it's not built on any sort of context whatsoever. And it's just jumping the shark completely, 100%. Like, she just has dove in to try to make this all emotional and completely irrational what's actually happening. She's taking the rational thought out of what's actually happening.
Okay, fine. Then I'm going to one-up you.
Okay.
I'm going to say,
right.
I'll take your Kristen Welker, and I will one-up you a Jim Himes, congressman, Democratic congressman, who wants you to understand that you need to understand the difficulty that these drug runners are going through, and you need to empathize with the drug runners. Listen to this.
Oh.
Americans to see it, because look, there's a certain amount of sympathy out there for going after drug runners, but I think it's really important that people see what it looks like when the full force of the United States military is turned on two guys who are clinging to a piece of wood and about to go under, just so that they have sort of a visceral feel for what it is that we're doing.
Okay, you know what you should have a visceral feel for, Congressman, is the literally hundreds of thousands of people who have lost loved ones because we have too many drugs coming into this country and nothing is being done about it. But you're more worried about the guy hanging on the boat who's trying to kill people. It's ridiculous. And this is my problem with these guys. They're so out of touch and so clueless that these guys come out again, hop on the 20 side of an 80-20 issue saying, can't we look out for the drug runners? I mean, my God, could you imagine holding onto a piece of wood? What are you, crazy?
This is the blend between Jack and Rose from the Titanic. Okay, He's trying to get you to have those feelings. I'm surprised Celine Dion's not singing in the background.
It would be. My heart will go on. I want you to know that.
My heart will go on too for the drug runners. But anyway, so there's that, right? And then it also reminds me of whatever state rep we had that was talking about how the drug runners here, the drug dealers here, needed to be able to have guns because it's a dangerous job to sell drugs.
You're damn right it is.
So that's what that really reminds me of. I'm like,
unreal.
What is your? Are you suddenly sympathetic to the pounds of cocaine and fentanyl that these guys
forget cocain? Well, the fentanyl is what I mean.
It's fentanyl, but they are also still bringing in.
Oh,
coke.
I'm sure they're bringing coke in too.
Because I heard a whole thing about how much coke.
Like, you know, and in all honesty, I don't know. I've never even seen coke, but my understanding is, you know, the difference between coke and fentanyl is huge. Apparently, coke's like the healthy version of. I mean, it's unbelievable.
I don't know, but I want to start singing near, far.
Oh, wherever you are. Yeah. No, I get it.
Too bad. We'll get copyrighted.
But here's what's so crazy about this. And when you listen to guys like him and you see what's happening here and you say, how in the world are we in a country now where you have congressmen out there being like, you know, you should really understand what it's like to be on the other end of the U.S. military. Yeah, you should. And you know what? You should understand what it's like to be on the other end of the narco state that tries to continue to pump poison into your country. And it's about time somebody stands up and says, you're not doing that to this country anymore. And if you're going to get in a boat and head to this country with drugs, get ready because we're going to try to eliminate you.
Yeah.
I have zero problem with that. And this guy, like, we should really understand what it's like to yeah, okay, clown, whatever. Now, here's the other thing, though. Let's go back, and I want to go into the Wayback Machine with our guy, Uncle Joe Biden.
Oh, goodness.
Uncle Joe has something to say about these narco boats, and we brought it back from the past. We reeled it in, and here's Uncle Joe.
We think we should do more to stem the flow of drugs across our borders, and we think we should go one step further. Let's go after the drug lords where they live, with an international strike force. There must be no safe haven for these narco-terrorists, and they must know it.
Amen, brother.
Yeah. Okay. So Ella wants us to clarify that he's called Grandpa Joe.
Oh, we're going Grandpa Joe?
But there, he's Uncle Joe because there he's about. He's about
he was Uncle Joe.
That was what, 40 years ago.
Yes, he's riding the train from Delaware back to D.C.
Yeah.
He's Uncle Joe there, and
So
yes, L's to you, he may be Grandpa Joe.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point.
It just shows the shift.
It shows you where the party used to be.
Yes.
They used to be a sane party who would disagree with Republicans on all sorts of things, but understood how to protect us.
Yeah.
And now it's like, well, no. And you see this other guy, and you're like, who are you, dude?
Yeah.
And what has happened? And this is the part of this that becomes existential when you start looking at politics. And you start saying, well, I can't seem to identify with the other side. I can't seem to understand where they're coming from. And so that's the part of this that I think is crazy. It's a wild issue. And I think obviously it's not over yet. And the whole Venezuela thing is far from over, because I do think there's going to be more action in Venezuela, no doubt.
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
That's what we're seeing. Okay, well, so some good news, at least
Yeah.
on the economy side of things. We do see that gas is coming down, right? So there's this a little graph here that we've put together that shows the drop.
We stole it, actually.
Oh, we stole this one?
Yeah,
Okay.
I
We
stole
stole
this
this one then, so don't give us credit for it. But we don't build graphs, apparently.
Yeah,
not
at least
today.
not this one.
Not this one. Okay, but you see that the gas price now is down to about $2.99 a gallon.
Yep.
And this is just a quick comparison from the last 3 years or so. So
Yeah, it's the lowest rate we've had since 2022. Okay, so that's critical, because that stuff goes downhill, right? The cheaper it is to fill up a truck with gas, the cheaper it is to get you the supplies or goods that you want.
And hopefully so, right? Hopefully, because there's like the grocery stores, it's really hard for them. And we've talked about this before. When the marketplace starts demanding more for a product, it takes a long time for them to lower those costs again. It's
Yeah.
like they're like, oh, the consumers paid for it. So I guess this is a good sweet spot for us. And so some of that is dangerous too, because some of it takes a while to
It does take a while, but ultimately the response of supply and demand in the free market will bring those numbers down.
Yeah.
Again, the more you introduce the government into this to try to regulate exactly how that stuff happens, the worse it gets, I think.
Right.
But yeah, that's a possibility.
Mom
But
Donnie in the grocery store, you know what one of those?
we'll see what happens. Well, but the point being in all this is, so those numbers come down. That's definitely directly attributable to some of the approach that the Trump administration has taken. But there are still walls to climb here. And an article from the Wall Street Journal shows that.
Yeah, the headline here out of the Wall Street Journal says Trump's team wages campaign to shift his focus to high prices. During closed doors meetings in recent weeks, the president's top aides have pressed him to calibrate his message on affordability.
Yeah, and some of his pushback has been, look, he's like, some of this is phony. It's a media creation. I think that's a dangerous approach and a bad one. And he shouldn't be doing that. And his own people are telling him, don't do that. Biden did that, and it didn't work, and it's a bad call. And on the other side, what they're starting to do now is to say, look, we came in to this whole thing as far as the presidency with a lot to make up for because of what happened during the Biden administration. So what they're trying to sell the president on basically is, look, you got to be patient with this. You got to be relentless with it. And you got to talk about the challenges we're trying to overcome. And then here's the things that we're doing. They have to do this. And then also they've got to get results, right? Scott Besson has been coming out saying, look, results are going to get better. Things are going to get better. We're seeing that. Wages are going up more than inflation is going up. We're seeing things improve. We'll wait and see. There are plenty of Americans, I think, who don't feel that way, and it's completely understandable. So we'll see how it shakes out. But Trump definitely has had to be convinced that he cannot basically ignore this or call it a conspiracy theory. It's not. Clearly. And I think there's some people with some good suggestions on how he should deal with it.
Yeah, Scott Jennings, one of our, the guy we always love to show from the CNN, he always just kind of is this voice
The CNN.
The CNN. It's like the Facebook. He definitely appeals to the conservative movement side, and I think he gives a nice voice to that. So take a listen to this, just talking about what Trump's going to have to do to kind of avoid these electoral disasters in 2026 with all these midterms that are coming up. So take a look at this.
Election year, the top issue is going to be the economy. He's the party's best spokesman, going out on the road and talking about what he's done, drawing a bright line between our plan, his plan versus the disaster that was the Biden years. You don't want to go back to we're in a deep hole. He inherited a deep hole. Do you want to go back to the people with the shovels, or do you want to go to the person and let the person building the ladder who's trying to get you out? That's kind of the argument that only really he can make on behalf of the party.
Nice analogy by Scott.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, you like the digging in the hole?
Yeah, digging the hole or getting on the ladder.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
No, it cannot be ignored. And that's the part of this thing that is so critical. And it's going to be one of those things that if the economy demonstrably improves and people feel that improvement, then I think you're going to see less of an issue. But if they don't feel it, it's 2026 is going to be a rough go. The Senate's not going to change hands. However, the House definitely will if something isn't addressed and something doesn't change.
Okay.
And it's hard. I mean, just think about it. I mean, you're still seeing costs rising and things like that. And a lot of things are being done, but it doesn't mean there's enough. And to try to think that, it's amazing how politics just, it pushes both sides to do some of the same dumb things. You watch one side do it and you're like, oh, you guys are morons. And then all of a sudden the other side does it and you're like, oh, morons,
Yeah.
So ignoring the economy and what's happening with it is a massive mistake. And by the way, in just getting back to one thing before we go to another national story, reading through the Journal on Sunday, very interesting. Didn't see the same tone I saw the Sunday before.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So what shift did you see?
Well, there was a big endorsement article from our friend Jeff Tucker.
Okay.
From the editorial board. He did a big old endorsement for Darren White. And there were some other things in there that, but there was not this kind of large coordinated push
towards Keller.
Yeah. Which there was right before early voting.
Interesting.
It felt like. But anyway, who knows?
Sure. If you want to hear more about that, you can watch our last Sunday show.
Yeah, which definitely got the reins put on it by our friends who host our not on the podcast front.
Right.
For those of you who just listen, it was a very successful show. For those of you who watch, less successful from our friends who host the show, which they pulled that thing way back.
Yeah, and we're still trying to figure out why they throttled their show so much. But again, if you're looking to find our show, we appreciate those of you that are listening out there. Just tell your friends about it and share the word. And I hate if you have to go in there and actually type in "No Doubt About It" to find us. But you might have to do that on days that they don't like our content, right? Because we don't make it readily available.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was the sweatshirt gate or what, but it was something that got it very much pulled back as much as any episode in 2 years for us.
Oh, by far. It was crazy.
It was
And
crazy.
we're like, we didn't do anything that was
By the way,
copyrighted.
we were sizzling on that episode too.
I know.
Unbelievable.
So go back if you didn't get to see that one. Go back and watch that one from just this week because it was really solid. So we're not sure why it was throttled, but go back and look at it. So
there you go.
Take a look. Okay, tell us about this.
Okay, so
and you hope that the Cowboys pick him up. I'm assuming.
I'll tell you, I think Dak's having a great year, but I do like this kid a lot.
Okay.
I like him personally, and I've watched some of his games, and I think he's got some talent.
And where's
I
he
really
playing
do.
from? Sorry.
He's the quarterback for the University of Indiana. His name is Fernando Mendoza. Okay. Big kid, done a good job. So Indiana, they were kind of the doormat of the Big Ten forever. Right, they were never Michigan, they were never Ohio State. They could never get there. Then they get this new coach, Curt Cignetti, a couple of years ago, and Fernando Mendoza takes over. They end up playing in the Big Ten championship game, or is it the Big 12? I don't know, whatever it's called, whatever the division is now. They go play Ohio State for the championship. And again, this just leads to the college football playoff. So now we're just getting into the college football playoff, and both teams would have gone to the playoff. But these guys went out and beat Ohio State, who was undefeated. And they were undefeated this year.
Oh, wow.
And I want you to listen to his sound. So I've heard him do other interviews before, and he wasn't this amped up, okay? But what he does, first of all, he thanks God in such a sweet and meaningful way. And then you just listen to him give this interview. You just realize these are kids. Mm-hmm. Like you realize these are kids. And he's just so fired up. So just listen to Fernando Mendoza.
Indiana, the Big Ten champs. How does that sound?
It sounds so beautiful. I want to give all the glory to God. We were never supposed to be in this position, but by the glory of God, the great coaches, great teammates, everyone we have around us, we were able to pull this off. Whoever thought the Hoosiers would be here, but now the Hoosiers are flipping champs. Let's go.
You call yourself a bunch of misfits who found the right home at Indiana.
He's not done yet.
Why was this the right place for this group?
It's the right place for process-oriented. We're going day by day. Whether it's the offensive line, the defense, the coaches, special teams, we're all process-oriented to one goal. That's our thing, is we're brothers. We can drag teams into the deep end because we know that we're going to stick together and we're the strongest glue ever.
Tell me about finding Charlie Becker, third down,
One
2
more.
minutes to go. We talk about Heisman moments, but take me through that one.
Man, what an incredible, he's been every single day in summer. We were always throwing before practice, before at 7 a.m. on Sundays, doing spots, doing routes, and now you see it to come to fruition. He's my roommate, couldn't be happy for such a young man as well as our defense playing lights out. And well, everybody what an incredible moment.
Okay, so it's so great. I mean,
it's very authentic. I would
super
say,
authentic.
As a teacher, I teach obviously public speaking, right? And so like I would give him like an A for energy. I'd be like, dude, your energy is high. I love it. I love that you started strong. We got to work on your tone a little bit because your tone came out a little high.
Yeah, came a little high.
It came a little hot, and so maybe just lower the tone just a little bit. And
but it just shows you, like, you can see the core of this guy right there.
Oh, for sure.
Thanking God, and he's done this before. He's very much a Christ follower and a really a good kid. And you just see someone act like that and the joy because you know how much work he put into it,
right?
And how much he cares about it. It's just such a cool
It was
moment.
sweet. It was very sweet.
Yeah.
He was
So,
he
and I
was so fired
think
up.
he's got a chance to be a good NFL quarterback. We'll see. I don't know. He has a chance to win the Heisman. We'll see. This wasn't the biggest game for him, right? Like it was a close game. It was really low scoring. Okay. So we'll see what ends up happening with him. Just seems like, but he kind of shows his age. Like he's a 20-year-old kid. Like you just kind of see it.
You see it. Yeah, for sure.
Super
But
cool.
I do love his energy. He was fired up and he wasn't too cool for school, which I also liked.
Which is awesome.
Which I love to see that he was
agree.
just genuinely super pumped about it. So
yeah, if you're an NFL fan, start paying attention. Your team needs a quarterback. Fernando Mendoza could be the answer. I think he's going to be a top 5 pick.
It's not the Cowboys, you're saying.
I would not mind that. I just don't think the Cowboys will be in position to pick him.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I think he'll be gone before they get a chance.
You think so? So, or what, are we doing so well? The Cowboys are doing well?
No, but I think he's a top 5. I think he's a top 5 pick, and the Cowboys won't pick until probably pick 15, 16 if they don't make the playoffs. If they do, but they'll be in the mid-20s.
Okay.
So I don't think they'll get him.
Okay.
Okay, here we go. So
we have not seen the game cam footage.
Yeah.
Ella and I have not been allowed to watch it because Mark's very excited about it.
Yes. So I've got 3 different pieces of footage here. Okay. First of all, we're gonna do a shot of a deer, and then we're gonna have you guys play a little game, and then I'm gonna show you the video of the week. Okay. All right. First one. This deer is just a bull. Look at this size. He's beautiful.
Oh, he is beautiful. He's got a bunch of snow on his face.
Oh, he's unbelievable. Els, let's go. We'll get a little shot of him.
That's a perfect winter shot. Look at all the beautiful snow that's come in.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Up
We
there
got
in
snow
Angel
up there.
Fire.
Yeah.
It's
We got some
gorgeous.
snow this week.
Look
But look
at
how thick he is.
He's cool. He looks like he's straight out of an ad right there.
Oh, he is. I mean, he's good looking, right?
He's like a movie deer.
Yeah, he is a movie deer.
Yeah.
We're going to go pull the faceplate off him, and you'll see that he's actually
he's got an agent on the side.
animatronic.
He has an agent over there on the side that says, go and walk in front of the game camera. Maybe we'll get you discovered.
There we go.
We're going to get you discovered for the big film. So,
as they should have. All right, Els, mic up here for a sec.
Okay.
Okay, you're there. All right, so here's what I want you to do. We're going to play this for you two, okay? I want you to identify the animal walking with the glowing eyes toward the camera.
Oh,
Whoever names it first wins, okay?
What do we win?
what do we win?
You're gonna win a pat on the back.
Wow.
Yeah, I know it's really okay.
That's
Lunch.
enough.
Winner gets lunch. I'll bring you lunch to wherever you are tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay.
But
I'll be here.
Have you seen? You'll be at school, right, Ella?
yeah, but I leave for lunch.
Well, I'll get you whatever you want.
Okay, yeah.
All right, fine.
All right, now, Els, you have not seen the video, right?
No, I have not seen the video.
Okay, so
It's
we're
black
gonna
on my
put this
iPad.
up. Okay, good. Let's put this up, and Els hit play, and the first one with the correct answer wins. Here we go. There are the eyes. You see them glowing.
No.
There's an eye. There's 2 sets of eyes right there glowing in the camera.
Dude, I don't know what that is.
They're coming in.
Wolf. It's a wolf.
You going wolf?
Well, hold on.
No, they're deer.
No, Ella gets it.
Let's
Couple
go.
of little deer.
I got one.
Are they little? Are they little?
I think they're a couple does. You can't totally tell because it cuts off after 15 seconds.
I'm sorry. How do you even know that was a deer? How does
you can
Ella
tell.
win that?
She does. It
you can
definitely
tell.
is. You can see it at the end.
Oh, okay,
But see,
fine.
when I was watching
'Cause
this
they're
video
little.
and I got to right here, I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? I thought it was a couple mountain lions.
They're
thought it
deer.
was-
And it
I thought
was
it was a wolf.
clearly
Look at
just a couple of deer, but it's very cute. Very cute.
Small deer.
Very cute.
I thought
Yeah.
it was wolf. I got excited.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. Okay. So here we go. So now this last one. So 2 nights ago, we retired for the evening. You always fall asleep first.
Yes.
So I checked.
Glorious.
I checked
Good night,
because
everybody.
all these videos come in.
Progesterone, by the way, that's a magic trick for the ladies over a certain age. And if you're not on progesterone, I highly recommend
My
it if
Lord,
you'd like
I
to
didn't
sleep.
think this was the direction we were going.
Sorry,
Okay,
just a little
so
plug. Just a little plug for HRT. Okay, keep going.
okay, good call. So I log on to my account for Moultrie Mobile, and I see this happen, and I see this come across, and I literally woke you up because I was like, "Holy cow! Look at this!" So here is the video, and this is a massive, and the biggest mountain lion I've ever seen.
He is enormous.
Look
gosh.
at the size of him. We'll go back,
I
Elson,
mean,
do it
that
again.
almost looks like a real lion. Just
Yeah.
like a lion.
I mean, I don't know if it's I thought, is this a female that's pregnant? Is this, stop it right there. I mean, look how thick this mountain lion is.
Gosh almighty. I don't even, here's the thing. You woke me up to show this to me, and I was like, this is terrifying. I did not want to see it to start with.
Yeah.
And now we're slow-moing the guy.
Yeah.
Because it's just so close to where we are when we're up there.
Yes.
that.
I mean, you look him right at the camera and you see those glowing eyes, and then just
he's huge.
Yeah, he's just massive. Stop right there. Else, come on now. Back it up. Right there.
He's huge.
Yeah, just massive.
I love that you were like, well, maybe he just ate dinner and that's why he's so big. I'm like, I don't think it works like that. I don't think you just expand when you have one meal.
Well, I know, but his belly would be nice and full. I don't know. But this is just, I mean,
he's
gorgeous.
enormous.
Yeah, they're beautiful
I mean,
animals.
how much do you think that guy weighs right there? 300 pounds?
No, not quite that much, probably. But probably, 180, 200.
Jeez.
Yeah, which is for a mountain
All I know
lion,
is anything bigger than this little buck on the table is too big for me when it comes to mountain lions.
No
So,
question.
No
doubt.
None of that. All right. No doubt about that. Okay. So we will be joining you guys back here either Tuesday night or Wednesday at some point, right? That's kind of our game plan because of the mayoral election on Tuesday is the, obviously election day. So, and we appreciate you guys' comments. Please continue to write those in. If you can, tell all your friends about our show. If you want to sign up for emails or make a donation to our show to keep us going, please go to our website, which is nodoubtaboutitpodcast.com, and you can do both of those right there. Thank you guys so much for spending time with us. Rate, review, and subscribe. Thanks, you guys. Take care. God bless.
You've been listening to the No Doubt About It podcast. We hope you've enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, rate, and review. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at No Doubt About It Podcast.
No doubt about it.
The No Doubt About It podcast is a Choose Adventure Media production. See you next time on No Doubt About It.
There is no doubt about it.